There's a voice in the universe that doesn't whisper, it roars. It doesn't ask politely for your attention. It demands it, like thunder cracking across a silent desert sky. And in that voice, we hear something ancient and unmistakable. Not just authority, but fire. Not just conviction, but truth. Imagine for a moment that this voice doesn't come from a preacher, a guru, or a glowing orb on a mountaintop. No, this time, it comes from the unmistakable growl of Samuel L. Jackson, raw, fearless, and unfiltered. He's not here to coddle your confusion or spoon-feed enlightenment. He's here to say, in no uncertain terms, wake the hell up and find your spiritual blueprint. Now, of course, we're not talking about the literal man, the actor on screen, though his cadence, style, and mythos play the muse. What we're channeling here is something symbolic, the archetype of a spiritual alarm clock in human form, the cosmic slap across the face that pulls you out of your hypnotic scroll, your comfortable numbness, your quiet desperation dressed as routine. Jackson, in this mythic sense, becomes a cipher, a wild prophet whose every word is a sledgehammer to your excuses. In his voice is a call that echoes through the chambers of your higher self, reminding you that you weren't just born, you were assigned. See, most of us are wandering through life like extras on a set we don't remember auditioning for. We wake up, pour coffee, pay bills, chase goals that don't belong to us, and scroll through curated illusions of other people's dreams. But buried beneath all that, deeper than your anxieties, beyond the static of your programming, is a coded design, a divine fingerprint, a living schematic etched into your soul before you even had a name. That is your spiritual blueprint. And finding it isn't about becoming something new. It's about remembering what's already inside you, that sacred architecture you've been conditioned to forget. But this journey won't be paved with soft affirmations and incense smoke. No, this is more like being thrown into a windstorm and discovering halfway through that you've had wings all along. That's where the Samuel L. Jackson energy comes in. Because sometimes the universe doesn't send you a gentle guide. Sometimes it sends a force, a no-nonsense presence that flips your table of complacency and says, enough already. The idea of a spiritual blueprint may sound mystical, even abstract, but it's not some fairy tale. It's real as the rhythm in your heartbeat or the fire in your gut when something just feels right. It's encoded in the decisions that pull you toward your highest timeline and encoded in the pain that refuses to let you settle for less. It doesn't hand you answers. It beckons you toward them. It wants you to walk through your confusion, your rebellion, your chaos, and come out the other side forged, not broken. We live in a world that trains you to forget who you are. Systems are built to reward conformity, to trade soul for safety. You're handed labels, routines, and fears, and told that's just life. But what if Samuel L. Jackson, the voice of righteous fury and divine swagger, were your spiritual mentor? What if he burst into the room of your monotony, pointed a fiery finger at your dormant potential, and shouted, "This ain't it, motherfucker, you were meant for more"? Would you keep scrolling? Would you hit snooze again? Or would you rise? In this exploration, we're not just going to philosophize about purpose like it's some luxury for poets and monks. We're going to drag it into the streetlight, let it fight for breath, and strip it of every excuse that's kept you playing small. We're going to talk soul contracts and false identities, cosmic timing and divine rebellion. We're going to laugh, reflect, and maybe even get a little uncomfortable. Because transformation doesn't always come dressed in robes and roses. Sometimes it wears a black leather coat and dares you to look it in the eye. So let this be the moment, the portal, the crack in the facade of your normal. This is where we start, where you stop pretending you're lost and start remembering that maybe, just maybe, you were placed here, not to fit in, not to obey, but to disrupt the illusion and realign with the sacred geometry of who you were always meant to be. Now buckle up. Let's talk about illusion for a moment, because this world is saturated with it. The illusion tells you you're just a body with a brain, just a worker, just a parent, just a follower of norms. The illusion offers you empty rewards, likes, promotions, comfort zones, in exchange for your inner fire. But the blueprint burns through illusion. It knows that you are a soul wearing flesh, a consciousness cradled in matter, a piece of infinity pretending to be small. It won't let you settle for sleepwalking through life when you were built to ignite. The core of this message, then, is radical self-remembrance. You are not broken. You are not late. You are not random. You are a living geometry, woven into this reality, with precision and power. But like any ancient map, your blueprint doesn't shout. It waits. It waits for your awareness to rise. It waits for you to stop outsourcing your truth and start reclaiming your inner authority. And here's the kicker. Your spiritual blueprint is not just about you. It's not some isolated quest for personal bliss. It's relational, interconnected, cosmic. Your gifts aren't just for your satisfaction. They're instruments in a symphony much larger than your singular life. When you find your rhythm, others can find theirs. When you light up, you become a flare in someone else's darkness. That's how the divine works, through echo and reflection, collision and expansion. There is no later for this discovery. There is only now. You can feel it, the rising dissonance when you're off track, the sacred frustration when you betray your own knowing. That's your blueprint tugging on your soul saying, "This isn't it. Turn around, go deeper." Samuel L. Jackson, in our symbolic pantheon, would call that voice your inner bad mother for. The you that doesn't flinch when truth hits. The you that can handle the heat of divine purpose. The you that doesn't need a permission slip to evolve. That's the voice you've buried beneath fear and expectation, and that's the voice we're here to resurrect. So, to distill the essence of this section, even though we refuse bullet points, understand this. Your spiritual blueprint is both ancient and urgent. It's not out there in some guru's lecture or self-help trend. It's in you, raw, wild, magnificent. But it requires honesty. It requires listening. And sometimes, it requires that loud cosmic slap that says, "Wake the hell up." To understand the spiritual blueprint is to unlearn the noise. Imagine life as a movie, not the highlight reel posted to social media, but the full cut, with every breath, breakdown, and breakthrough left unfiltered. Most people are stuck in the first act, trapped in someone else's script, reading lines they didn't write. They've forgotten they're the damn main character. Forgotten there's a purpose scribbled in stardust and DNA, humming beneath every heartbeat. The spiritual blueprint is that script, not written on paper, but etched in soul, encoded with meaning deeper than words. And yet, it can't be accessed until something or someone shocks you into remembering. Samuel L. Jackson, again not the man but the mythic voice he represents in this allegorical journey, is the cinematic thunderclap that interrupts the dull hum of autopilot. His archetype doesn't just knock on the door of your awareness. He kicks it in. Why? Because sometimes divine clarity doesn't come in whispers. Sometimes it sounds like, "Enough with the damn excuses. Step into your destiny." Your spiritual blueprint isn't an instruction manual. It's more like a compass with a frequency only you can hear. It's the sensation that certain decisions just click, even if they terrify you. It's the pattern in your suffering, the thread in your talents, the electricity in your curiosities. You were born wired to express something utterly specific, something sacred and fierce. A vibrational signature so unique, the universe cracked light and time just to make space for it. And yet, modern life smothers this awareness under layers of performance. You're taught to trade your authenticity for approval, your instincts for algorithms, your soul for a salary. But here's the hard truth Jackson would bark unapologetically. You are not here to fit in. You are here to break out. The blueprint doesn't require you to be perfect. It demands that you be real. It doesn't care about your past failures, your social standing, or your curated identity. In fact, It's often hidden beneath those things. Every trauma you survived, every storm you barely crawled through, every broken moment you stitched back together. These weren't detours from the path. They were the path. They shaped the vessel strong enough to carry the truth. The pain wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Let us now descend, or perhaps rise, into the world of symbols, where truths are whispered through fire, shadow, and vision. Where the spiritual blueprint isn't explained but revealed, not in language, but in metaphor, story, and archetype. The map of the soul isn't made with lines and coordinates. It is drawn in myth, carved into the unconscious, and illuminated when the ordinary burns away. Picture this. A man in a long black coat stands in the middle of a crumbling city. The skyline behind him is fractured, smog-choked, 1,000 voices humming with the static of distraction. He lights a cigarette with one hand, but his eyes, oh, those eyes, they pierce the dream like a blade through velvet. He's not here to save you. He's here to remind you that you were never supposed to need saving in the first place. This is Samuel L. Jackson as myth, not the actor, but the spirit, a sentinel of awakening. He's the cosmic gatekeeper who won't let you lie to yourself 1 second longer. His voice cuts through illusion the way fire slices through fog. You've been walking in circles. You don't need a new path. You need to burn the map that's not yours. And so begins our first symbolic tale, the burning map. There was once a traveler who wandered for years through a desert of mirrors. Every step she took, she consulted a golden map passed down by her ancestors, intricate, detailed, beautiful. Yet the more she followed it, the more lost she became. Each direction felt hollow. Every destination turned to ash. One day, exhausted and delirious, she met a stranger cloaked in smoke and fire, a man whose words struck like lightning. That map, he growled, was drawn for a version of you that never existed. She tried to argue, to explain its legacy, its importance, but he held up a mirror, and in it, she saw herself not as a traveler, but as a phoenix, wings bound, flames dormant. You want the truth? He said. Burn it. Burn the map. And so she did. In the flames, she didn't lose direction. She found herself. For the real blueprint was never in the parchment. It was in her pulse, her instincts, her scars. This is the nature of spiritual awakening. It often begins with destruction, not as punishment, but as purification. The false self, the inherited story, the script you've been performing for applause, it must collapse so the original design can emerge. The burning map is a metaphor for every identity you clung to that was never really you. When Jackson's voice bellows through your psyche, it's not anger, it's divine disruption, a holy demolition of all the noise keeping you from your core. Now consider another parable, the mirror that shattered time. In a forgotten temple at the edge of space and mind, there was a mirror said to reflect not what you appear to be, but what you truly are. A monk once spent 40 years searching for it, believing it would show him his soul's highest form. When he finally found it, he gazed into its silver surface and saw chaos. Images flickered, a child screaming, a soldier kneeling, a thief weeping, a prophet laughing, a mother dancing, all of them him. Terrified, he smashed the mirror. The shards fell at his feet like fallen stars. And then he saw, each shard held a different truth, a different part of his essence. Not one was the whole, but together they formed something sacred. The blueprint was not one version of self, but the harmony of all he had been, all he could be. You are not one face, not one path. Your spiritual blueprint is a constellation, a sacred chaos of possibilities that only become clear when you stop clinging to control. We are not meant to find one fixed truth and worship it like a statue. We are meant to live like sculptors, chiseling meaning out of mystery, guided by intuition, not certainty. And sometimes it takes a metaphorical Samuel L. Jackson breaking our damn mirror for us to see the bigger picture. There is also the story of the sleeping giant in the cell phone glow. In a crowded city, lit by neon signs and endless scrolling, lived a man who once dreamed of speaking to stars. As a child, he swore he could hear trees breathe and feel the earth hum beneath his bare feet. But life happened. Bills, screens, deadlines, likes. He forgot the hum. His eyes glazed over. One night, walking home past a billboard screaming, "Buy more, be more," he collapsed. No pain, no injury, just a sudden emptiness, as if he'd stepped outside his own soul. And then, a voice, thunderous, icy hot. It said, "This ain't what you came here for. Wake the hell up." He opened his eyes, not to the city, but to the blueprint pulsing in his chest, ancient, urgent, alive. The dream returned. The trees whispered again. The giant stirred. This parable speaks to our modern condition. Our spirits, once awake and wild, are lulled into sedation by dopamine tricks and digital rituals. But beneath that still sleeps a giant, the blueprint self, the true self, aching to rise. And it won't rise through silence alone. Sometimes it takes a jolt, a breakdown, or a voice like Jackson's echoing through the soul's chamber saying, "You didn't come here to play it safe. You came here to remember." These symbolic narratives aren't just entertainment. They are initiation. They whisper to the part of you that's older than your body, louder than your doubt, braver than your fear. They remind you that your spiritual blueprint isn't a destination. It's a frequency. And to tune into it, you must unlearn, unmask, unshackle. You must live like a story unfolding in real time, not knowing the ending, but trusting the call. The blueprint isn't just an ethereal concept to be admired from afar, like a star you'll never touch. It's not just an idea floating in cosmic theory, trapped in metaphor or distant symbols. If it stays in the clouds, it fails you. Because the truth of it, the real power of it, is that it wants to be lived. It wants to hit the pavement of your life. It wants to show up in how you speak, in the work you do, in the choices you make when no one's watching. And this, perhaps, is the most rebellious act of all, to take something divine and earth it. Now, if Samuel L. Jackson could walk into your living room mid-scroll, throw your phone on the couch and stare you down, what would he say? Probably something like this: "I don't care how woke you think you are online. What are you doing with your damn day?" That's not judgment. That's alignment. Because talk is cheap, and transformation demands embodiment. Your spiritual blueprint is not unlocked by studying it like a textbook. It is awakened by living it like it's the only thing that matters. Let's bring it into the tangible. Every time you betray your intuition, you feel it. That twist in your stomach, the sudden drain of your energy, the dull ache of compromise. That's not just discomfort. That's your blueprint sending an alert. Wrong way. It speaks through the body, through your burnout, through your tension, and yes, through your joy too. The moments you lose track of time because you're so in flow, so connected, that something greater seems to be working through you. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. That's you aligning with your original design. The work then is not to chase purpose like it's hiding behind a mountain or at the bottom of some guru's YouTube channel. The work is to start noticing the data of your own life. When do you feel most alive? What drains you like a spiritual vampire? What patterns keep repeating themselves, screaming for your attention? The blueprint is a feedback loop. It will reflect your misalignment until you choose to recalibrate. And the first step of that recalibration is awareness. Samuel L. Jackson's symbolic voice comes in handy here, not as a critic, but as a coach. He doesn't whisper soft encouragements. He gives you the truth straight, because your soul doesn't have time for games. This voice says, "You know damn well what's not working, so why are you still doing it? That job that suffocates you, that relationship that shrinks you, that habit that numbs you. These aren't neutral. They're detours from the path your spirit carved long before you were born. But this isn't about quitting everything and moving to the mountains. It's about intention. You can flip burgers or file taxes or raise kids and still live your blueprint, if you do it with the fire of purpose. If you see the sacredness in each moment, not just the grand ones. If you show up fully, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because purpose isn't always glamorous. It's often disguised as grind. But the grind feels different when it's aligned. Even your struggle gets holy. Here's where integration deepens. When you stop asking, what do I want to do? And start asking, what am I designed to do? What am I here to unlock in this reality? The answers don't always come in words. Sometimes they come through motion, through risk, through trying something wild and unfamiliar just to see what lights up inside you. That's the science of the soul. It requires experimentation. The blueprint reveals itself in layers, not all at once. And it reveals itself through engagement, not avoidance. So make no mistake, this isn't a feel-good concept. This is war. A war against apathy, against false identity, against the slow death of meaning. You are not here to be comfortable. You are here to be lit up. And Samuel's archetypal voice, loud and precise, is the internal general saying, you've been drifting too long. It's time to lock in. Every conversation you have from this point on, make it real. Every step you take, ask if it honors the blueprint or betrays it. Every opportunity, feel if it stretches your soul or shrinks it. And when fear shows up, because it will, don't run. Remember, fear is the bodyguard of the sacred. It only appears when something important is near. There will be resistance. The old self will scream. Comfort zones will seduce. But transformation doesn't care about your comfort. It cares about your alignment. It cares that you live so fiercely true to who you are that the world around you has no choice but to adjust or collapse. So don't just know your blueprint. Embody it. Speak it in your voice. Walk it in your bones. Love like it's part of your mission. Work like your soul depends on it. Rest like you're recharging your divine technology. Every moment is a note in the symphony of your purpose, and you don't need permission to play. And if you ever forget, if the noise gets loud again, if you slip into doubt or hesitation, just remember that cosmic voice echoing through your cells like a sacred slap. Wake the hell up. The blueprint's waiting, and you're running out of time. So here we are, the end, but also the beginning. If you've made it this far, something inside you has already stirred. Maybe it's faint, like a spark hiding beneath ashes. Or maybe it's roaring now, louder than your fear, burning through layers of who you thought you were. Either way, this isn't just a conversation anymore. It's a reckoning, a sacred confrontation. You've stood in front of the mirror, cracked the illusion, walked through myth and metaphor, and faced the one voice the world keeps trying to drown out. Your own, the one beneath the masks, beneath the programming, beneath the performance. You've been given the key, but no one, not even Samuel L. Jackson in all his cosmic fury, can open the door for you. That's your task. That's your burden. That's your glory. Let's be brutally honest now, because that's what this journey has demanded all along. You've wasted enough time. The universe has whispered. Life has nudged. Pain has pointed. And now the voice has shouted, thunderous, unrelenting, unmistakable. Wake the hell up. You are not meant to drift. You are not here to be a passive passenger on someone else's ride. You are the damn architect of your own reality. And your soul didn't show up empty-handed. It came with a blueprint, a living design, a sacred contract. And yet, most live as if that contract can wait, as if there will always be more time to start living with purpose, to listen to the gut, to pursue what stirs the fire. But time isn't a luxury the soul promises. Time is an illusion the ego clings to while the spirit starves. So stop postponing. Stop looking for confirmation from people who don't even know their own truth. Stop begging life for guarantees. This isn't about becoming something better. It's about remembering who the hell you already are. Beneath the layers of anxiety and shame, behind the filters and the trauma and the comparison traps, you are a being forged in mystery, etched in intention. You came through the veil with orders, and the more you align with them, the more the universe bends in your favor. Not because you're lucky, but because you're finally resonating with your own design. You want peace, purpose, power? Then live as if your existence means something. Not in some vague, flowery way, but practically, deliberately. Every breath, every word, every choice. Infuse them with meaning. Stop waiting for clarity like it's a permission slip. Clarity comes after movement. It's revealed in the fire, not in the waiting room. And if you still don't know where to start anywhere. Start by saying no to something that's been draining you. Start by picking up that thing you abandoned when fear got loud. Start by standing in a room full of people and telling the truth for once. Start by not shrinking. Because here's what the blueprint demands above all else: honesty. Be honest about what you want. Be honest about what you're afraid of. Be honest about what you're pretending not to know. Your soul can handle the truth. In fact, it requires it to awaken. There is no way around it. You can't manifest your way out of misalignment. You can't chant affirmations loud enough to override a false life. You must choose to come home to yourself every day, with every breath. That's the path. Not glamorous, not easy, but real. And when you walk it, something magical happens. People around you begin to shift. The universe opens doors that were once locked. Synchronicities line up like cosmic breadcrumbs. And you begin to feel it, that deep, unshakable sense that you are on time with the divine. You don't need to yell like Samuel L. Jackson to channel his power. The energy isn't in the volume, it's in the truth. It's in the refusal to sleepwalk through a life that was meant to ignite. It's in the sacred defiance of living small. It's in the audacity to embody your blueprint, no matter who doubts, no matter what it costs, no matter how often you fall. Because here's the secret they never told you. It's not the people who play it safe who shape the world. It's the ones who remember, who risk everything for their truth, who live like fire in a land of ice. So here's your final call. Stand up, look in the mirror, look hard. Ask yourself, am I living my design or someone else's distraction? And then act accordingly. Your blueprint is not a luxury, it's a responsibility. And the voice that's been screaming in the background of your life, it's not going to quiet down. It's going to get louder until you listen, until you become it, until the day someone else hears your story and finally wakes the hell up too.